Hey gang, Asylum Child here again, and this time we're going to be doing some final touches on what we got of our girl. So we've got her all taken care of, we got her hair all done, everything's cool, we've got a costume on her, we even put in some textures, stuff like that. So now what comes next is a background. The background's kind of important because what you want to try and think of is, what's the mood of my picture? Like, is she going to be romantic? Is this a romantic? Is she, tension? Is she in a bad situation? Like, is there enemies around her? Is she just posing in an apocalyptic background? Is there a city behind her? Is she a superhero where she's protecting her city and there's a night city behind her? Or do you just want a normal, just regular background? So like I showed you in previous videos, some of my favorites and everything, they tend to do, like Dan Don Fuga here, they tend to do basic three things. Like Widowmaker here is just a basic colored gradient kind of background. You've got where you can use shapes or textures in the background, or you can actually make a scene where, like, we get here in her dusty workshop where she's got a window behind her and all that stuff. It's all up to you and what kind of mood you're trying to convey for this picture. So for simplicity's sake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a simple background. So the first thing we need to do is, since we're done with all the stuff of our figure and everything, we need to combine what we got for our figure. Now, the way you do this in Clip Studio Paint is I'm going to turn off the eye for the background, and I'm going to turn off the eye for the paper, and I make sure the eye for the sketch is off. And then what I'm going to do is you go to, these are the ones we want to combine. So we make sure that they are seen, right click, and click on this, then hold down Control and click on every layer you want, so it's check marked. Right click, and then there'll be Combine Showing Layer. This is very important because if you combine Selected Layer, sometimes when you have different kind of layers, here, I'll go back and show you why we have to do it like that. See how this layer is normal and this layer is multiply? So if we try to combine those layers, see how our hair messed up? That's because one of the layers is multiply. If you got different layer options on different layers, it'll mess up when you try to combine them one by one. So you have to combine them all at once so that they save their effect and it doesn't look all weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab all of these, and then you can go Combine Selected Layer, which sometimes that doesn't preserve the multiply or overlay or whatever you need, so I wouldn't recommend that. What I recommend is Combine Showing Layer. That way it combines only the layers that have the eyeball see. So now we have our girl, her hair, her outfit, everything all in one layer. And make sure that you're done with each layer, like her hair, her skin, her costume, because it's going to be really hard to sit there and lasso and say, oh, I should have put a shadow there, or I should have done this, or I should have put more highlights over here, or blah, 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 or I missed a part of her texture over here on her leg, or something like that. It's going to be very difficult to go back and time consuming to go back and redo something that you forgot to do. So make sure that before you combine your layers, you've got everything all the way you want it, which we do. So we've got this girl all done, and she's all in one layer. So I'm going to rename this girl. Okay, so background. What kind of background do we want? What kind of background are we looking for? Do we want just a regular background or whatever? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like a wall, like she's sitting in a wall, and And that's just that. She's just going to be sitting in a wall, and that's that. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to marquee off a section here. Have like she's at the wall. Let's see. Expand, crop, clear, shrink, cut and paste, clear selection outside, scale up and down and rotate. So we can rotate it. Let's rotate it. Oh well, you can't. Unlike Photoshop, it's not really. You can move it around, but unlike Photoshop, you can't really change it up too much. So, okay, so this is what we'll do. We will do a wall. So let's see, we'll use a gradient tool, and we'll make sure it's foreground to transparent. And what we'll do is we'll make a line. We'll do it this way. We'll do polygonal. So a little bit of perspective here. So we'll go like this. Since she's up against a wall, we'll have her here, like this. There. Now what we'll do is we'll have a gradient here to there. We'll just do, well, not that. Okay. Oh, we have it on circle. Make sure you rotate the right shape. Sorry. Okay. You can hold down your shift and make it straight, or you can make it curved up. We're going to go straight up, like that. And then we're going to invert the selection. And we're going to make a gradient go in this way. So that way it kind of looks like she's in a wall. Okay. We'll worry about shadow in a minute. In fact, let's do that. Really good, easy way to do shadow. I used to do this in Photoshop all the time. Duplicate your layer. So duplicate layer. You're going to turn this one off, and we're going to go to this one. We're going to new correctional layer, brightness and contrast. We could turn the brightness down to. Actually, it's not brightness and contrast on this one. It's hue and saturation. What you want to do is we're going to turn the brightness down to nothing, like that. Hue and saturation. And then clip it to the girl here. Okay? And then combine it. Okay? Then what we're going to do is you go edit, transform, and then we'll just do a mesh transformation. What you do is you kind of lean it like this up against the wall. Like this. Kind of elongate it and make it look like, you know, it's behind her. So, doing its thing. Sometimes it's a big process. Turn our girl back on. Okay. Now, sometimes it's a little off, so we don't want it to be off. So we're gonna just do that. We may even put some more black over here so that it looks like a shadow. So we'll go in black. Just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll blur it. So you go filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we'll just like that. That way it looks like a shadow up on the wall. So that's cool. We'll do it like that. The cool thing I wanted to show you though is I don't want to use this kind of background. It's just a simple background I was showing you. It's because I want to show some backlighting back behind her. So you're like, you just did all that and then you're going to redo it. Well, sometimes you change your mind. So we're going to get rid of that. Okay, make a new layer. This time, let's make a night sky. So night sky, there's a night sky preset right here. That's cool. So first off, we'll fill it with black, and then we'll just do a night sky about like here, like that. Then you just do like a brighter blue, like we'll pick this color blue here, and we'll make it brighter. And we'll make a circular gradient. We'll make a circular gradient. Foreground transparent, and we'll have a circle. We'll put a small circle behind her, like so. Matter of fact, we'll just make it brighter. Like that. Like that. That looks pretty cool. So backgrounds can be as complex or as you want. In fact, you know what? We can even put buildings. We can make a cityscape. Cityscapes are fun. And like this. We'll go in another layer here. And make cities. Make buildings. Buildings filled up with black. This and do some white, or like really light blue, and come in and just randomly do some lights, you know. Randomly put some lights on, and then what you can even do too is you can make a gradient on this, a real light gradient. Make it like this dark color blue, and just kind of no, not that there. My bad. Okay. Yeah. Make sure you get the right shape, and then you just kind of just make the tops of the buildings gray or blue. Like that. There we go. Now we got a city behind her. It's not perfect. I mean, you can do some more city behind her if you want, but this is just demonstration purposes. So we'll combine that. We'll make her a cityscape behind her. We'll make her like a superhero. So okay, so we got that. We might even put in a moon. Ooh, let's do that. Okay, so here, hold on. I'm just having all kinds of ideas. Alright, where did I put that moon? Moon. Where's a moon? Moon. You can also, if you have a photograph or something, you can also take the photograph and kind of posterize it and blur it out a bit. There you go. And blur it out a bit. And then you can... you can blur it out a bit and do it like that. Let's see, I want to get... expand. You may want to expand it. Okay. Well, it may have been a bit too much to expand, but... Alright, okay, actually. Let's just... Well, no, I don't want to sit here and mess with the moon too much. I just want... Let's just get this part here. We'll Control C. Okay, and then we'll put that in the background too. Like that, you know. Make it a little bit bigger. Oh, we don't want it behind the building though. We just, you know what? Okay, let's not make it too big. We'll put it up here where it looks like, you know, the moon's up here. And then we'll just kind of layer mask it. Remember how I showed you how to do layer masks last time? Some layer masks and stuff before, so we'll just layer mask the moon some here, so it's just like this in the night sky. You want to do some dark clouds rolling in, we'll some of this and see if we have any clouds. Oh yeah, we do. I'll just go in here and some clouds, you know. Clouds behind it. Some clouds have rolled in. And there we go. I love cloud brushes. Cloud brushes are great. You should really invest in some. They can really do some cool effects, you know. Okay, so now we got a cool background. Okay. Turn the moon down some. It's not so... It looks kind of hazy and not so bright and everything. Okay. Alright. So now, we got the background and everything. We're going for a more... it's a nighttime. She's a protector of a city. It's kind of dark. You know, not a whole lot of light and everything, but we want some light showing her. So this is how you do some cool light effects. And, you know, depending on, like, once again, just like your background and everything, what mood are you trying to express with your art? Do you want, you want it to be romantic? Do you want it to be action-packed? Do you want it to be, you know, dark and gloomy? Or do you want it to be bright and happy? You know, what kind of mood are you going in? Your lighting, just like in a movie or anything, the lighting can convey the mood. Like, if we have this like super bright and everything, she doesn't really blend in with the dark and gloomy atmosphere of the night city. You see what I mean? So we want her to be a little dark and gloomy too with this backlight of the moon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to use layers and brightness and contrast and stuff to make some dramatic shadows. So we're going to duplicate the layer, and you can do this in Photoshop and stuff too. It's just you have to make a layer and then turn down the hue or saturation, or turn down the brightness in your hue and saturation layer, and then mask it off and then paint in the shadows you want. Clip Studio Paint does it a little bit different, so I'm doing it in Clip Studio Paint to show you this, but you can also do the same in Photoshop. You just have to kind of just have to know how to set the saturation and the brightness and contrast on a layer and then mask it off. So that's what we're doing, is we're using hue and saturation, brightness, and layer mask. So you don't even have to duplicate the layer. That's how you would do it with Photoshop. But for Clip Paint Studio, you just right click, and then there's new correction layer. So we want to go hue, saturation, luminosity. Okay. So we want to turn this down pretty dark. Let's turn it down pretty dark, where it's pretty dang dark. Okay? Because we want a gloomy type atmosphere. So we'll turn it down this. You know, well, now the whole thing's dark. So I'm going to use this right here. It says clip at layer below. That way we got our night sky. See how bright it is compared to her? So now we got our night sky and we got our girl. So now we're going to use the eraser tool and a soft eraser. Okay, make sure you got it on soft. Make sure the hardness is down to like 1 or something like that to where it is really soft. Okay? And we're going to go over, since it's clipped to the girl, or our mask is clipped to the girl, we don't have to really worry about outside the lines too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over the edges real quick, like so, where the moon is shining behind her. And we want to have the light shining down this way, like a front light. So we get in the background light, like so. Just go over where the light would come in, nice and strong. Okay. So we're getting in here in her hair, getting in here where her muscle comes in. Okay, in here, and then under here, so they shine underneath her arm. That. In fact, we put some highlight lines when we did some of the pictures, so you can go over some of the highlight lines, you know? So we definitely here. Okay, and then back here, she's got some brightness where the shine has come in behind her hair, and she's gonna have here. So that takes care of where the backlighting is gonna be. Okay, so we got that covered. Okay. So now what we have to do is we got to try and figure out how we're gonna, we're gonna turn it down, and then we're gonna have another light shine in here. So now we remember where the light is shining here. And you start erasing shadow where you know shadow's gonna hit. And once again, references, if you're not comfortable just painting in your own shadows, references are your friend. So, really check out some Google images, check out some silhouettes, things like that, and just references are your friend. References are your friend. Kind of even out her arm here. This will be brightened up a bit. Yep, here in her chest. Definitely here on her chest here. Like so. Because the light will hit that. Light will hit on her cheek up here. So we'll do that. The nose sticks out, so she's going to have a harsh shadow. Pretty harsh shadow right here on her nose. And her cheek and chin here. And her cheek. Definitely have a shine here. Gonna be a little too much there, so I'm gonna even it out a bit. Okay, and then here on her lip, and here on her lip. There we go. it looks like. See, you're keeping the shadows in on here too. We'll go there. Abs, and then here on her costume also. There we go. Here are our fingers. Top part of our glove here. There we go. A bit here. Not much. Just have to kind of show off muscles. And if you really want to be cool, you go in here. And a little bit of eye shine. You can make her like a cyborg. Color in her eyes where they have this kind of glow. Kind of gives her this eerie glow, which kind of looks like she's got supernatural powers, you know. Normally you wouldn't do this because your eyes aren't going to glow in the dark, but we're going to have her have this cool effect where we got our eyes glowing. So we'll put a little bit of white link, just a little bit there. Now suppose you highlight too much and then, you know, you just take away from the picture, you know. You don't want it to be, you say you went in here and you got too much into the hair, and now look, see, now you got this crazy, you want this to be shadowed and everything. How do you redo that? You go back to your airbrush. It doesn't matter what color, we're just using the brush. And you fill back in whatever you want. See, in matter of fact, we're going to go in here and fill back in the hard shadows. Like this, that was not shadowed. Like over here in her nose and stuff. Or her lip. Things. Like that. There you go. So it's erase. It's erase to make the to erase the. See, like I would do too much there. You'll use the eraser tool to erase the mask, and you use the brush tool to bring it back. So we're gonna just a little bit right there. So it kind of shines. We're going to have our eyes shining for glow effect. That way we get this nice, you know, nice kind of gloomy kind of night sky where she's got some light shining on her, but she's kind of hiding in the shadows, and she's protecting her city for the shadows like she's Batman or something, you know. You can go in and make sure that you got all your highlights in that you need, because this is a chance to highlight that, you know. So make sure that, you know, with the understanding of where your highlights and your shadows are, you know, using reference and stuff, and where we've already colored and things, we're kind of adding to the shadows. So here, I'm just going to add to her abs here. See? Maybe add a little bit more shadow, or a little bit more highlight there. So it show off her abs a bit more. There you go. If it's too dark, just go, you know, well, okay, that's a little too dark. You don't want it to be that dark. Then, you know, just lightly go over it with your eraser, soft eraser tool, and it'll soften it up, you know, soften up those shadows. You don't have to have hard shadows unless you really want hard shadows. Like here, I want a really bright highlight because remember, this is satin and latex, so, you know, we want a really hard shine on these, hard shines. Same thing with here on her outfit. That's why I made this so shiny on her belt and up here, because this is latex, you know. So when there's a shine, it shines, you know. You can even come down here and do undershines if you want, like that. Make sure you get in here and do the shine on the lip of her latex seam too. You know, make sure you get that in there. So you kind of keep track of what is getting hit by light and what is in shadow, and it's like this is like extreme shadows, you know. So you want to make sure that you're getting extreme shadows and highlights. So brass on her suit thing, see, it's gonna shine too. It'll like that. So you want to do that because it's shiny, because it's metal. So you probably put some shine to that. Not too much, just, you know, enough to show there's a metal seam there. Otherwise, it's completely blocked off by light. Matter of fact, this one probably wouldn't even show. So let's go back and cover that one up. Okay. So, but this one would, because the light's shining too, but her shoulder is covering that one, see? So that's how we do this dark, gloomy light. And the way that you do a backlight too, if you notice with silhouettes, so we're going to combine that. Okay, we're going to combine that because we're done with that. Okay, so another thing about when you look at silhouettes, you notice this light like glows behind them. There's actual glow behind them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this really light blue and we'll turn it up even higher. Almost, you know, almost white, you know, kind of blue, real light blue like this. Okay, since our background color, since the light back here is blue, it's going to make a blue cast to everything. So real lightly, I'm going to go over, back behind, like this, like her hair, and some things like that, right back behind her. And kind of do a little bit of a halo effect. Not much, just a little bit, because the light is reflecting off of her hair, off of her skin, you know, things like that. She's not glowing per se, it's just the light. If you'll notice with silhouettes and stuff, the light actually makes a little bit of a reflect like this off of surfaces in direct light. So you just want to make the real faint but present light behind her. See this. Same thing here. There's just a little bit, well, okay, messed up there. I want to use a smaller brush. Yeah. Just make sure you don't do any harsh lines. Just a little bit of a glow. Little bit of a glow around the edges. Just very, where we're going to have super highlights. Super highlights. Okay, like that. It kind of softens up the edges and stuff too. And the reason for that is because, like I said, sometimes light just does that. It makes kind of a halo effect around the edges of silhouettes. So, and then what we're going to do for that, go here and make sure you're going to do these exactly the way you want them. Because, yeah. So now we're going to go in with the same bright color and we're going to do all the harsh lights, the harsh lighting. So go over all our edges that are being bright, that are in the bright light, and make sure you go over all your muscles, like this, you know. We're going over the very edge of the hair. Remember how we had these little hairs? Well, now they come into play. So you just very lightly just kind of go over the edge of the hair, like this. Very lightly just go over the edge. Same thing up here, scalp. Where's a bend here? Just real lightly go over that in her hair. Same thing with down here and her, this part of her hair, like that. Matter of fact, you can just have it real like that if you want, yeah. See, the hair is a mass, but when it starts thinning out toward the end, it starts thinning out. So you'll notice that with silhouettes, like that. Okay, let's go back to our highlights here. So you can have these as thick or as thin as you want, depending on how much of a highlight we're talking about. Like this gets pretty thick up here, but then it thins out as it goes down to her arm here, you know. And then, you know, goes around this muscle here. Same thing with under here. Go like this, and then she has this part of her breast here, comes around and makes a line here. See? Just make a harsh line like that for the seam. Yeah. There we go. Back over here. Your bicep, or tricep, or whatever that's called, muscles. I'm gonna have to learn the muscle groups for you guys. Nah, it's been a while since I went to an anatomy class, so. You guys probably don't care. You probably like triceps, biceps, whatever. You know, Daniel, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So yeah. Rounded muscle here. There we go. This we're going to be tricky because it's supposed to have wrinkles and stuff, so I'm going over the wrinkles, and then I'll do a smooth operation here like this. Ta-da! That. There's no light down here by her booty, so we won't have to worry about that. We will have to worry about making it over here, so we'll go in here. Go over these lines we already made. So we'll define those with blue instead of with color we had. Once again, there's a belt, so we're gonna get that, and then okay, we're gonna soften up this here so it kind of glows, you know. See how we did that? We went over the harsh line we made and softened it up with a softer brush. See? And there you go. That's how you do that. If you really want to put it on, you can. But we don't put one on the ear or anything here because, you know, the light's just coming behind her, so all of this is in shadow. You got to keep in mind where your shadows and stuff are. So there's that. Her face might be a little dark, but you know, that's the way the shadow is. If you want to lighten it up and everything, you know, we've already gotten rid of our layer and everything. But you can go in with your airbrush and pick this color here, just real lightly. Go over highlight colors like this, you know, kind of redo highlight colors in her face here if you want. Just don't make it too much, like that. That's more painting, you know. Even that's a little too bright. You'd have to go a little bit darker. So we go a little bit darker and just real lightly get the highlights in again. Oh, not like that. Let's make it even darker for that side because that side's shadowed more. See? There you go. Still too dark. Or still too light. So we'll just blend it in a bit. There you go. Alright. And that's how you make dramatic lighting for like dark and gloomy. You know, if we want her to be sunny or whatever, you just do, you do the silhouette, but you would make the same color, probably almost a white, like a yellow, real high yellow color, like about like this color here. That way it would like reflect the sun and everything, you know, and really look like she's sitting in the sunlight and everything. But now we got this nice superhero and everything, and some good lighting effects and everything, and so we can combine it down, get rid of our sketch layer. See, we did really good. So you want some cooler effects, like, okay, suppose we want our eyes glowing. How would you do that? Well, Clip Paint Studio has a glow effect, but what you do here is you go like this, make a new layer, just make a bright green here, just real lightly. Go over some of the highlights like that with a green. Makes your eyes glow. If you want to be like really cool and have some cool effects and everything, what you can do is you can do like this, where you have straight lines, and turn like this. Let's see, just no, not like that. Okay, straight line doesn't do it, I guess. Oh, specify length. Okay, fade. That's what we needed. Okay. Oh, brush shape. Okay, you can change what brushes you want, stuff like that. like here. Brush shape. You can have an airbrush. Like this. No, it still didn't do it. Oh, okay. I thought it'd be really cool and do that, but oh no, it didn't do it. So, okay. Well, what you can do if you really want to really bring it out is you use an airbrush, use soft like that, and use go down to a really small brush. And what you can do is you can do the straight line thing. Oh, God, it still does it. Dang it. Okay, well, whatever. You just make the star shine thing is what I was trying to say, like this. But don't make it that dark. For some reason, I just could not get it to work right. There's a special technique to it, I guess, that I'm missing out on. You can also, instead of blending mode normal, you can have add glow. Let's go right here. And you can have your eyes glow. Let's go on here on the layer and just like this. And then go back to normal. Put back in your pupils if you so desire. Processing. Put back in your pupils like so. And if your highlights got over, which your highlights should be fine. There you go, now she's got glowing eyes. Ta-da! Can't really think of anything else. Pretty much how you do your silhouetted. That's pretty dramatic lighting and everything. That's how you would do it for dramatic lighting like that. If you want, say we wanted something a little bit better, like a little bit, like go back to what we're doing here. So you wanted like a light to go over her thing, so let's do this kind of background. We'll do this like kind of soft purple and soft purple background. Go like this. Okay. We'll do this kind of soft purple background. Okay, so once again, we'll do a correction layer, hue and saturation. And what you can do too, but I don't recommend doing this too much, is because it'll mess it up. Mess up your colors. Like you want to say, well, if we got purple and we want to have like a cool purple kind of tone to it, we can turn purple on. You turn down the saturation like so, and you can even turn it down. That way it kind of gives it a purple cast, but be very careful about doing that because I'm going to turn up the brightness again. See how it affects your colors? As a matter of fact, if you have your saturation up, if we do purple, see how it changes? Now it's like a reddish color because, you know, it changes the whole color. So you want to turn down saturation, shadows, turn down the brightness. So be very careful about if you want mood lighting, because it can mess up your colors, see. So, alright, let's do the same thing we did over here. So, okay, so, like this. Suppose we this like this, and we got this silhouette back here. Backlighting. 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 Sound like Peter Griffin. Backlighting. You see, it'll bring out the green again, but you have to be real careful about, about using this kind of light, this kind of shadowing, because color is kind of washed out, so you might want to, just real lightly gradient out where you got lights. It's definitely not for harsh lights. So you want to go in there and go in where we had lights. Same thing up here. This time we're going to kind of do some highlights here around the eyes and stuff. No, that's too dark. See, you want to be a little careful because color gets washed out or changed depending on what kind of color you're using. So be very careful about colored shadows. Colored shadows work great if, if that's the effect you want, If that's not the effect you're going for, it could kind of mess it up. So make sure that you're okay with this kind of reddish color back here. It's like, oh, it's, this reddish color because blah, blah. Make sure you're okay with this purplish color on her skin back here. If that's what you want. Okay, so same thing as the other one, see? It's just got a little bit of a color overlay, so it gives it this kind of purple tone. Now suppose she's got like she's over like she's got bars across her or something. So you want to go over pattern like this. So you go over a pattern of how the bars would lay across her, like so. Make sure you remember exactly all the lines have been made. Curve around, make it realistic. Because if you don't just have the bars straight across or whatever, like that, like she's got blinds on her or something. So you can do that too. Matter of fact, she would have some bars. Where the bars are going over her here. Like so. Like that. So it looks like there's bars over her. Kinda just have to play around with references and things with that because you don't want to mess that up and have that all wrong. So that's how you do that. And suppose we wanted her face hooded. Like we're gonna concentrate on her face right now. So hue and saturation, and we'll do the same purplish kind of hue we had. Turn it down. Actually, we'll make it like, you know, like that. We'll make it dark. Clip. Okay, suppose she's got a real hooded look, like the light shining from up here. Like you want the light to shine from up above. So we got, you know, like this, where it's shining from up above. Okay, so you can change how the light is affected certain points, like that. A little too dark there, but so supposedly the light's coming down here like this. She want a hooded kind of a shape close to her eyes, like she was wearing a hood. Just paint it in like so. And you can even make it like harsher lines, like if you want a straight line, like something is really just like she's wearing a hood or something, you can just do this. The more light shows, the more it's going to come in. Brighter it'll be, like so. Oh, that was a little too bright. So we'll just kind of do that. See, you can even change where your light source is coming down if you want. Now it's coming from above, you know. Instead of coming from the side, it's coming from above. And you can just remember where your light sources all come from. Like so. Change the whole mood of the piece depending on, you know, where you want it. I'll probably redo that part, but a little bit on our abs here, because definitely here. See? You can just totally change the way it is, you know? Matter of fact, let's go back in here and go to that, because there you go. Ta-da! Have her eyes really shadowed, and you say, well, what if she has highlights to them? Well, then you can go in here and just get the highlights if you want. Because, you know, I like that. like that. Just get the highlights, you know, and it really gives her some depth. So that's if you want it real dark. You want it to be real dark and everything, because, you know, suppose she's in interrogation or something, you know, and just do that. Brighten up her face here, and there you go. Like that. So, possibilities are endless when it comes to doing it this way, doing your dramatic lighting and stuff. So you can make any mood in your drawings. You can make it creepy, you can make it romantic, you can make it bright and sunny. You know, it just depends on where your light source is coming from. You got the main focus, like I've always said before in other videos, is you want to make sure you know where your light source is coming from. What's going to stick out, what's going to not stick out as much, and what's going to be in direct light. So, you know, like the top of her head here is in direct light. You know, and so that's the way you would do this. And then you'll go, you know, clip this down, and you do your direct lighting, which we would take this. Not eraser. I don't know what I was thinking. Direct lighting, and then just do the harsh light like that. Make sure you know where your light source is coming from. Like that. You can make some realistic light effects, depending on see? There you go. That's going to finish up our slow tutorial. We're done. I would do the Dora the Explorer thing, but some of you would be like, oh, come on, that was unnecessary. So thanks for going through this little journey with me, and thank you for watching. I hope you guys learned a lot. If you got any questions about anything, you know, put it in the comments below. Write me a message here on YouTube, and, you know, I'll be sure to see if I can clarify some things, or do some different techniques and things that I might have missed. But until next time, thanks for watching.